Hello and welcome to this week's Weelie Geek Chat. As you can see, I am joined by Shadow, and hold on while I take you off of mute. There we go, and now they can hear you.
Oh,
Okay,
don't know if that's a good thing.
well, yeah, there is that. Okay, so it's been quite a while since we last done one of these. I don't think I've done a live stream on my own in about 2, maybe 3 weeks. So I'm incredibly rusty. So I'm sure that there's some stuff that I'm gonna forget, but just roll with it. So um, hey, thanks for popping in. We have somebody in the chat already. Um, yeah, so we've literally just started. Um, and I've got a lot of stuff that I want to cover. Um, so I'm gonna start with the shortest thing, and I just wanted to show this off right up, right away. Um, Chucky season 1 has came out. Um, the Chucky movies are ones that I really like. Like you just gotta not take them too seriously. But what what this does is it continues on from um, the movie continuity, excluding the remake of Child's Play, which I have no intention of ever seeing because the design of the Buddy doll, as it's called in that, um, looks weird, and it's not got the same actor doing the voice, and uh, Brad Dwarf, who is an actor who I really like, even though I don't think I ever say his name right ever. Um, I think he's awesome. Um, a movie that you might have seen him in. He played the young man in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, who had a stutter very much like me. Um, he's been in so many other things though, but Chucky is like his main role that most people know him for. And that TV series is fucking awesome. Excuse the language, but it really is.
I've never seen any of that yet.
Um, I don't think you would like most of the movies. I think maybe Seed of Chucky you would like, because that's more the comedy one. But um, all the other ones are very much more horror. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that really quickly because it's literally just came today, and I'm like so excited about it. Um, anyway, um, so the next thing that I was wanting to talk about, which I believe you will already know this, but our audience may not. Um, I recently got a Xbox Series X, and I'm absolutely loving it. Like, I'm so glad that I finally got a current gen system. Um, Even though I am, for the most part, playing retro games, like it has a huge um, library of games on the Game Pass, which is absolutely worth the 10.99 that it currently is. Um, and I've just been trying out a whole load of games there, which either have a retro feel to them or are like really old games, and I'm just having an absolute blast with that. Um, and I thought it would be a good idea to kind of go over my whole gaming history, and you can do the same as well if you want. Um, I actually don't know how much of a gamer you have been over the years. Um, so that would be quite interesting for me to find out. Um, but yeah, so I'll start with the first console that I ever had, and it was the Sony PlayStation. And the reason why I say that, it's because it wasn't then referred to as PS1. It was still the one that kind of looked like the Millennium Falcon. That's what the original PlayStation design makes me think of. So that's kind of what I always called it. Um, yeah. Um, and um, the only games I can remember playing on it are stuff like Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, 3, Crash Team Racing. So like a lot of the mascot type stuff. Like perfect that I'm actually wearing my Crash shirt now. Like that was not planned at all. But hey,
And
awesome.
did you get it chipped?
The PlayStation 1,
Yeah.
yes. Well, kind of. It had an expansion port in the back, so you could plug this thing in and play um, the copied games, which was awesome because it meant that I got to try way more games than I would normally. Of course, nowadays I would say don't do that with like modern consoles because yeah, just not good. But with the old stuff, yeah,
Yeah.
fine.
Because my PlayStation was chipped, so I could play like American games and copied games and stuff like that.
Oh, cool. I will say back then I knew nothing of region coding. I didn't figure that out until um, much later about the whole region coding thing. Um, so, I mean, that's just kind of how things are. I'm always kind of slow on the uptake, shall we say. Um, but hey, it is what it is. So, after the original PlayStation, I got the PlayStation 2, the fat model, as it's referred to. Mine was silver, which I thought was awesome. My current PlayStation 2 that I have is a slim one, which is also silver. Um, no particular reason why I stayed with the silver one. It's just what one I ended up with. I think at one point I had a pink one. But
Hmm.
yeah, as um, they start to develop issues, it's easier for me to find another one that's working rather than do the repairs on them. Because me and that kind of stuff, not good with cerebral palsy. Like fine motor skills, not good, obviously. Um, so it's either buy a one that works already or pay somebody to repair it. And most of the time, it's cheaper to buy one that's working than it is to repair your existing one. So yeah. So PlayStation 2. Um, Again, I was always into like the Tekken games and Tekken 4 in particular, which now is considered one of the worst Tekken games of the franchise. Personally, I think it's one of the easiest, but I wouldn't say it's bad. I'd say it makes it more accessible. Uh, because, well, for example, in this past year or so, I've been going through the Tekken games trying to unlock all of the characters. And with Tekken 4, I was able to do that in about an hour or so. Um, and then Tekken 5, they really upped the difficulty even on easy. So that took me like 3 hours as opposed to just one. But of course, I still managed it. But yeah, like stuff like that um, can make or break a game for me as to how easy it is to progress. Because I tend to play games more for the story than I do anything else. Um, I mean, it's really great that you can actually make the characters move and all the rest of it. But when you know what you need to do and you just can't get your hands to do the right things quick enough, that's when stuff gets really frustrating. Um, do you find that?
Yeah, it's does because I struggle sometimes with some games to actually get to do what I want to do and get to move and stuff like that, and especially if gripping the controllers sometimes.
Yeah. I don't have too much trouble gripping the controller. It's more moving, making sure that I hit the right um, a, bu- a button, or um, if it's all on the joysticks. I actually find that quite hard. I
One thing
do,
I find hard, yeah, so I find hard as well is if the camera doesn't follow you. If you know what I mean, you have to move the camera as well.
yeah,
That's what I struggle with.
that is really frustrating. I do a lot better on games where the m- moving of a character is on the D-pad, and I don't know why. And yet, like the standard seems to be mostly done with the joystick. Uh, just drawing from the Xbox over the past week or so, um, the left analog stick tends to be where you move the character, and the right analog stick you move the camera on like so many games, and that's taking some getting used to. Um, but yeah, PlayStation 2, Tekken 4 was awesome for me back in the day. I thought it was a huge graphical upgrade over Tekken 3, which even back then I thought Tekken 3 was really pushing the limits of what the original PlayStation could do. Um, but anyway, after the PlayStation 2, I eventually got a PlayStation 3, and I think I was fairly late in getting that because I missed out on the backwards compatible model of the um, PlayStation 3 Fat. I'm not sure if that's the official name for the original size ones, but I missed out on those. Um, I did get one that was a fat model, but it wasn't backwards compatible, so you had to buy any PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 games from the PlayStation Store, which kind of sucked because it meant you were just re-buying the same game when you might have still had the physical disc, and you still had the disc drive then, whereas now you can have the option to have the disc drive or not. I've gone for the one with the disc drive for the Xbox. I mostly got it for the bigger internal storage, if I'm honest, because the Xbox Series S, I believe, is only 250.
and the graphics aren't as good either.
All right, I did not know that. I purely thought it was just down to how much space it was. Okay, cool.
It's also that's why it's so much cheaper.
Right, okay. Um, well, that doesn't really affect me quite as much because the way that I've got my Xbox set up currently, it can only put out in full HD. It can't go any higher than that because of the limitations of the television that I have it hooked up to. Um, so I do need to upgrade that at some point. As for when that'll be, who knows? Um, so yeah, I did get myself a PlayStation 3 eventually. It was a fat model, but not a one which had the backwards compatibility. I don't remember what size the internals were, um, but I never maxed it out because I didn't really download games back then. I was still very much just on disc. Whereas now I'm like, whichever way I can get the game cheap, that's the way that I'll go. I do prefer it digitally now, just because I don't want to have a big pile of cases everywhere.
You see, I'm the opposite. You see, I prefer the hard copy because I'll tell you for why. Like, if I want to sell the game, you can. You can't sell digital ones.
True. Well, I'm the same when it comes to movies and TV shows, as my background should clearly show. I mean,
Yeah.
I got the Malcolm in the Middle box set there when I was actually watching the show. I was actually watching it on Disney Plus, but I still have that box set there because just because I can. So I'm not completely against the physical media, but I am trying to dial it down somewhat. Believe it or not.
All right.
Um, yeah. With PlayStation 3, the only game I can really say that I can that I can remember playing was the Mega Drive collection, which I've rebought like multiple times because I bought it on Steam and I've bought it on Xbox now. Just because I like having a bunch of the really old games. Um, like some of them are really fun. Um, and Tekken 6, I can remember having the special edition of that when that came out. Um, Now having to go back to it uh, on the 360 disc um, in my Series X, like it really doesn't feel all that much different. Um, it's just I don't have the like pack-in extras of the special edition, which to be honest, I don't remember what I got in that special edition all those years ago. Um, but I did download Scott Pilgrim versus the World on the PlayStation Store, um, and that game for the longest time um, was not available unless you had previously downloaded it that way and had kept it on the hard drive. Um, and I'm so glad that they were able to like sort out whatever the rights issues were, and now you can get it on Steam or on the Xbox or just get it anywhere. But I think it's still only digital, so I would say get it on as many platforms as you can because it's an awesome beat 'em up. It is hard as hell, but it's so fun. Um, I think the main thing about the Scott Pilgrim game is because it was a movie tie-in game, so
Hmm.
they were only wanting it to have a short shelf life, but people really like that um, game, even if they don't like the movie so much. So yeah. Plus, it's got a really cool um, retro look to it. So like I'm all over that shit. Um, and then after that, there was the PlayStation Network hacking that happened like multiple times, and that got to the point where I just thought I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I just closed my PlayStation account, um, got rid of the PlayStation 3, and for the longest time only played original PlayStation and PlayStation 2 games, and um, that's when I kind of fell in love with emulating old games like from the Super Nintendo, original Nintendo, and even some systems that I'd never heard of before, um, like the TurboGrafx 16, which is also called the PC Engine in Japan, um, which is really fun. Um, like it's all 16 and 8-bit games, but like yeah, they're like hard as hell, really fun. Um, I would highly recommend kind of just seeing what games you can play just by emulating the old systems. Um, the reason why I say to emulate the old systems is because as time goes on, the surviving hardware is going to get more and more expensive, and like already is in the collector market. Whereas if you just want to try out some of the games to see what the hype is, then that's a really good way to see what you missed out on by being born in the wrong decade. you know? So, um, that's kind of my gaming history, and then I completely skipped the PlayStation 4, and I'm never getting a PlayStation 5. Um,
If you're lucky enough to get one.
yeah, well, my other half does have one, so I do have access to one should I ever really want to play a PlayStation game. But if I'm honest, um, there's so many games on the Xbox. I'm good. Um, the only ones that I really wish weren't PlayStation exclusive is the Spider-Man games. You know,
Hmm.
but Sony. So yeah. Plus, I have no idea what Sony is like in terms of being inclusive for their controllers. Um, like with the Xbox, we could get a special controller and
Yeah.
like have it. I really wish I could have had a picture to put up, but it kind of looks like this white box with two buttons and like the D-pad, and then all these ports that you can have the buttons added to, But like it can be adapted, so like you can use your mouth to control the um, characters, or um, do like a buddy setup where you control two actions and somebody else does the rest of it. Um, like that's super inclusive. It's really expensive. Yep, that's it exactly. Yep, and like what they're showing there isn't even all of the options that available. It's like super customizable, depending on what meets your needs. Um, and there's like charities that are dedicated to um, having that kind of equipment, so it levels the playing field. So you can get back into playing games and um, be as you were before you were injured, or just make things easier for playing games in general. Um, and that controller is compatible with the Xbox and any Windows um, computer. As for Mac and PlayStation, I have no idea whether that controller would work for that, um, or even if Sony has anything similar. But I know Sony is very much more in the vein of having everything be proprietary, which sucks because like that may stop piracy in their eyes, um, or like make things harder. So like you're tied into only doing PlayStation stuff, but like the Xbox and Windows, yes, they're not perfect by any means, but like that is one huge advantage right there, that they're trying to make things inclusive. Like gaming should be for anybody at any level. You don't have to take it so seriously. You can
Mm-hmm.
just get
Oh,
a controller like that and just be super casual still, you know. But it's to get everybody at the same level. So like it's super easy to press the right button for whatever game, or um well, I shouldn't say press, because I've seen videos where somebody was controlling with their chin, um or um like it kind of looked like they had these huge levers, um but like they were just doing the joystick, but it was like they were kind of set up like leaning on things. It was really awesome to see.
yeah, it's really inclusive, that controller. It can open a world of gaming up to everybody.
Should we mention some of the charities that um have been involved with that controller? There was some on the bottom of the page that I sent you earlier on, which I can't currently look at.
Okay, it says here it was Warfighter Engaged, Cerebral Palsy Foundation, the Able Gamers Charity, Special Effects, the Gamers Charity, Special FC, Feet, uh, Special something. It's SPECILE It's either Seeet or Heeet.
Would it be easier to show it to the camera just so
Yeah, it is.
it's
Although it's the wrong way around.
it's special effects? I'm I'm familiar with that one because somebody that I follow on Twitch done a 24-hour live stream to raise money for them for that very purpose of um being able to get more people into gaming who may not be into gaming because it's not thought of as being accessible to them. But with a controller like that, it absolutely is.
Absolutely, yeah. So do you want to hear my gaming history?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay, um so my first gaming was when I was like 2 or 3. And my dad, this is really old, but my dad had a old BBC computer.
Alright, cool.
So it's these things which uses 5.25 inch floppies, and that's not something a man should boast about.
Wow, I wasn't expecting you to make that joke.
Um, anyway, so uh, and the good thing about that was that not only did I have like standard games for that, I can remember it was like 2 or 3, but my dad actually wrote games as well.
Oh,
So I had
cool.
all these different games that were on these floppies that my dad wrote, and they were unique.
I
Um,
I can remember playing floppy disk games, but I know nothing about what computer or what system I was playing back in the day. So like I just went from like my personal history where I could remember the names of these
yeah.
systems, you know? Anyway,
So I then had a Super Nintendo,
sweet.
um, and the game I always used to play on that was Super Mario World.
That's a hard
Uh,
game.
See, I love that game.
Oh yeah, it's
See,
it's it's awesome, but like I've never managed to complete it.
I've managed to. I think I managed to complete it, um, like once. But it is a good game, and you have to like do all the secret levels and stuff as well,
Cool.
which is really quite cool. And I then I want my history is going to be a bit brief because obviously we're running out of time. Um, so I had a Sega Mega Drive,
I'm kind
and
of jealous.
a funny story about that was when I was like 4 or 5, and I wanted a Sega Mega Drive, and I went into Woolworths to buy one, and it was £100. So I gave the person at the till 100 pence, and I thought
Okay,
that would get me. I thought that would get me a Sega Mega Drive. But
bless.
yeah, so and actually, I'm actually quite surprised to remember that story. But yeah, there was that, and I eventually did get one. And then
Was it
obviously I
a
had the game,
was it a Model One or a Model Two?
probably a Model 2. I don't know.
Model Two was a short, square-looking thing. Model One was more like a rectangle.
Yeah, it was short square.
Yeah, that would have been a Model Two.
And then I had obviously a PlayStation and Game Boys. I had like I had, just to save time, I had every Game Boy there was. So I had the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advanced. Then I had the DS, and then I had the 3DS.
Okay, I completely skipped over my handhelds. I had a Game Boy Pocket, which was essentially a slight upgrade to the normal Game Boy. I skipped the color and got the um, Game Boy Advance, and I didn't upgrade again until um, what what handheld had Pokemon X on it.
That was 3DS.
Yeah, that'll have been the next time I upgraded a
Yeah.
handheld.
Yes. So I had all the generations of Game Boys. And then I also got an N64, and I had a PlayStation 2, and I had the Xbox. So this not the Xbox. This well, I did get an Xbox, but I also had the Sony Dream. Was it Sony Dream something? Dream
Sega
Station.
Dreamcast.
Sega Dreamcast. That's it. So I had the Sega Dreamcast. Um, I also had PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and I've recently just got the PlayStation 5. Um, I've had the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, um, and obviously Nintendo Switch. And I also had Wii as well.
Did you have a GameCube?
I had the GameCube as well. Yeah, I had the GameCube.
Awesome.
So
So
basically, I've had almost every console.
yeah, you've had way more than me. I kind of pick one up like once every 5 generations, it seems, roughly.
And like for me, I wish I kept my GameCube because it'd be worth a heck of a lot of money now.
Yeah, it would.
I had the original GameCube, the original purple one.
Oh, that one looked so awesome.
Was it purple? It was lilac-y, wasn't it? It was not
Yeah, it
purple
was like
purple. It was lilac.
yeah. Well, it's still kind of purpley, so yeah.
Yeah.
I liked the look of the GameCube, but I was very much a Sony fanboy because
Oh, I had the N64 as well.
one of my friends had the N64 and we'd play Diddy Kong Racing round his and GoldenEye. Those are the only 2 games I can ever remember him having. I'm sure he must have had more, but those are the only 2 that I can actually remember. Um, and then another friend had the Super Nintendo at the same time. So like I kind of got a taste for what would be classed as retro system back in the day. But back then, like I don't know about you, but I didn't care what system I was playing on. It was just how fun is this, you know? That's what
Yeah.
it all boils down to at the end of the day. I don't like this whole thing of oh you have to be a PC gamer to be valid or you have to be only loyal to this one company. Nah, gaming is gaming at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
system you play on. It would be
Absolutely.
much nicer if more stuff was compatible with each other though. Like, I know some games are, and it doesn't matter what system you play on. And you can play with friends. So like Fortnite, I know they don't care whether you're playing on PlayStation while a friend is playing on the Xbox, you can still be in the same match and things like that. But not many games are that inclusive. Um, and I have no desire to ever play Fortnite because
I've played Fortnite.
I've seen people play it. I know in the heat of the moment I would just do the entire wrong thing, and it would be not fun for me. It's more fun for me to watch those kind of games. Um, I tend to really like story-driven games, um, and as hard as the fighting games are for me, um, I really
That
like the
seems to
law.
be. You see, I think like battley sort of like non-story based gun type games are the common games that are out just now. Like every single like about 80% of games getting released are that kind of genre
Yeah.
or guns shooting. You know,
Well,
Fortnite,
thankfully,
COD, Call of Duty type games.
yeah, there is a lot of story ones as well. Um, which there is one that I've been playing off of the Game Pass, which is called Tell Me Why, and it's in like 3 chapters.
No, you tell me, not me.
Really? You're gonna do that? Okay, fine. So, yeah, it's called that. I'm not gonna say it again. Um, and as I've said, it's a story based game. What I like about it is it's centered on mental health, and one of the twins who you play as is trans, and I'm barely into the story so far. Um, I was very much just getting used to the controls last night when I was playing it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's awesome. Like it, you can only interact with certain things, and it's more about listening to the dialogue going on, and you have to pick what response you think would fit best with like the whole mood in that moment. Um, and there is a little bit of a puzzle element to it. Um, but it's more like find this thing so we can go in here and do this thing, and then it progresses the story more. You know, it's very
Mm-hmm.
minor. Whereas the Brothers game that I've been playing on um, Steam, which I really need to get back to, is more about the puzzle side of things than it is the story, because you can't even understand what's being said. It's its story, I guess, is so simple that it doesn't even need to be given words. It's all about showing emotion, and we're supposed to just know what that person's supposed to be feeling in
Uh-huh.
that moment. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of all I had to say about that game because I'm barely anywhere in the plot wise. Not that I'd want to give much of the plot away. Um, and I've just looked at the time there, and we still haven't gotten to anything that you wanted to talk about. So um, I'm just gonna hand it over to you now.
Okay, so I want to talk about the Disney Plus TV series called Owl House. Um, Owl House is basically about a girl called Luce who is kind of like the sort of like the perfect behaved like person, like sort of like a geeky type person, but but tries to do this to impress her mum. So she gets sent off to this to try and keep her in line over summer. Um, this geeky type camp, but instead, as she was waiting for the bus, she noticed something in the forest and she follows it. And then that leads her into a realm called the Boiling Isles, which is filled with and uh, magic and demons and um, all sorts of wonderful creatures. Um, she gets she The way how she gets to the realm is through the person called the Owl Lady. I just need to get a real. That's terrible. I've forgotten what her real name is. I think it's Evelyn. I think it's Evelyn. Evelyn. Owl. Uh, Owl House. Evelyn Owl House. Yes, Evelyn. Yes. So it is Evelyn. So she's the owl lady, and it's her portal that she walks through accidentally because she like collects stuff from the human. What she doesn't collect it, but her familiar type. It's not called a familiar, but her familiar. That's what you probably know it as.
Okay.
Is a familiar type thing. Collects her random objects from the human world for her to sell in the Boiling Isles. Anyway, she's like a what we find out that she's a wanted criminal because she's refused to join a coven. And a coven is basically like in the Harry Potter is more akin to like the houses.
Okay.
So you have to be a part of a coven to the emperor rules that every witch or wizard in the Boiling Isles has to be a part of a coven.
See,
Otherwise,
you say coven, and what comes to my mind is the movie The Craft, which you've probably never seen. Um,
no,
but essentially, it's I think it's 4 or 5 witches who each one of them their power is a element, and collectively they make one force. You know.
yeah.
Anyway,
Well, with this, each coven is a particular type of magic, and you can't belong to more than one coven. It's only part of, there's like the Emperor's Coven, which is like the ultimate coven, and then there's all different kinds of other covens. Um, anyway, so there's a school within, like a magical school within the Boiling Isles world and stuff. And Luce wants to learn magic, even though she's a human and not a witch. She wants to learn magic. And the owl lady, or Evelyn, agrees to teach her, but she's really bad at teaching her. She doesn't teach her at all, basically. She basically gets her to be like her uh, housemaid as opposed to, or like her pupil or something like that. But she has, but we find out later that she has methods in her madness, sort of thing. And eventually, Luce does learn some magic, but in her own unique way. But she wants to go to the school. Um, but what I like about this program series is that it's got LGBTQ plus representation, where one of the characters, um, I'll get the character's name, um, gay character, owl house.
while you're looking that up, I'll just quickly go back to the Chucky TV series, um, as this one also has a LGBT theme in that the
So,
main character um, is gay. Um, so like there's quite a lot of stuff out now with LGBT themes, which is awesome. Anyway, back to your stuff.
Luz, the main character, is bisexual, and the other character is um, uh, is it uh, an Amity is the other one. Yeah, so Amity is the other one. She's got green hair.
I've never seen this show,
Uh,
so um, when you were saying about um the witch, for lack of a better term, um gets this person to be more like a maid than anything else. Um, I can remember vaguely that being in a trailer that I've seen, but that's literally the only detail that I can remember from the trailer. Um,
yeah,
so I
and
really need to check this out.
there's a really cute character called King as well. And one thing about King is you don't see his lips move when he talks, which is kind of strange. But
Interesting.
he's one of these beast type characters, but he's looks really cute. He's kind of like he thinks he's a king. He's kind of like a dog type raccoon thing with a skull type head. But it's like basically
Okay,
imagine a raccoon or uh, a raccoon or a dog combined with Cubone Pokemon.
okay, that
I'll
would
see
be
if I can
very
get a picture.
strange. Yeah, see you can get a picture.
Uh, King Owl House. Um, where are we? There we go.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yep. So
very adorable.
he would like to be called adorable though. What was I going to say? Yes. So I highly recommend that series. I've just finished series one today.
How many seasons is there?
There's currently two, but there's going to be a third, but the third is going to be the last because it's been canned.
Okay. Well,
The,
that
the
doesn't
first
surprise me.
season had the first season had 19 episodes. Second season's got 10. Third season's got 3 or 4. But the episodes are 45 minutes each in the third series,
Okay, so that
as opposed,
evens it
opposed to
out.
22.
Yeah, so it's more like the double length episodes then,
Yeah.
really. Yeah,
So technically, there's 6 episodes if you look at it another way.
yeah.
Then,
Is
but
there anything
it's
else that you wanted to talk
that
about, or was that it?
that was it. Yes, that was it today.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Amazingly, we've managed to get to the end of our list of stuff to talk about with about 5 minutes to spare. So,
I think Cody will be pleased with that because he's now staring at me wanting his DINNER.
well, should we end here? And I don't know whether we'll be here next Saturday.
We won't be because I'm not available.
Okay. Well, there we go. the show will not be happening. I don't particularly like having guest people on. Um, it just doesn't seem to go right ever. So yeah, next Saturday